guys are. 6:02.
Good.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is 6:03 p.m. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded. May I have a roll call?
Sorry, give me one. I was gonna try to get Kirsten on the screen. His video on, but it's not coming up for some reason. You know why I did? She's on video.
Have you tried swiping?
Yeah. That's why. That's weird.
If Jonathan is talking, I hear nothing.
No, you know what? You turn your camera on momentarily, it'll switch to the other view and then it'll stick there.
She's up there now,
Yeah,
but she
but-
can't hear us.
Can
Oh
you
no,
hear
I
us,
can hear you
Kirsten?
now, Jonathan. I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Roll call,
Roll
please.
call. All right, Director Aguilar,
Here.
Topliff,
Here.
Brandt,
Here.
Freeman,
Here.
Deschler.
Here.
And Director Deschler, if you could please announce the your reason, or not the whole reason, just the general reason, and
And identify anyone over 18 who is in the room with you and their relationship to you.
In the room? Okay.
Yes.
There's no one in the room with me. I am I'm at home because the chairs at the IVCSD are sucky and I can't sit there for 4 hours. So I'm sitting in my nice kneeling chair. Is that good enough?
but you had a medical issue, right?
Oh, okay, yeah. Yes.
That's all we had to have.
So Director Deschler is participating for Just Cause.
Super. Thank you.
You're lucky we all get along.
Why? Did I do something wrong?
No, you're good.
No, it's okay.
And then Director Schulz and Craig are absent.
All right. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge the Chumash people who are the traditional custodians of this land. We pay our respects to the Chumash elders, past, present, and future, who call this place, Anascoyo, the land that Isla Vista sits upon, their home. We are proud to continue their tradition of coming together and growing as a community. We thank the Chumash community for their stewardship and support, and we look forward to strengthening our ties as we continue our relationship of mutual respect and understanding. At this point, I'd like to move on to our second area, the consent agenda.
I just have one note. We weren't able to get a contract finished in time for 2.8, so if we could please approve just 1 through 7.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion by Topliff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, the motion is to approve the consent agenda items 2.1 through 2.7. Is there any public comment on this motion? See no public comment. We'll go to a vote. May I have a roll call of the vote?
Yes. Director Brandt,
Yes.
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Topliff,
Yes.
Director Deschler,
Yes.
Director Freeman.
Yes.
And this motion passes 5-0-0-2. At this point, we move on to our public comment period. Any member of the public may speak on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board of directors that are not on the agenda. The board will not take action on any item not on the agenda except as provided by law. Is there any public comment at this time?
No one on Zoom.
No one on Zoom, no one here with us. So we'll move on to our discussion action items. We have item 4.1, the options for Isla Vista Library Services and Governance. And we will be pausing this item and saving it for January's meeting, correct?
Yeah.
And so we will move on to our second item, 4.2, formation of an ad hoc committee for Deltopia Community Festival planning.
Great, so we know the drill on this one. We just usually have a board ad hoc committee to work with staff to massage the proposals and make sure it's in line with your goals. And Maya's already been working on the proposal, has sourced a lot of vendors, has built out a budget. So there's a lot to engage with, but it would be good to have you guys' eyes on it before we bring it properly.
All right, and the previous ad hocs that we've had relating to our festivals, who have been those members?
Director Schultz, Craig, and Tom.
Joel's, Craig, and Toplet. Since you're the main director present from that group, do you have any thoughts? Or
I'd be happy to continue.
I've been very pleased with the work that this ad hoc has done, so I would support them joining. Do you know if the other two directors are interested in still serving?
I didn't hear yet from them.
So if they're not here, let's appoint them.
All right.
It's
There's
our
not
honored
any
tradition.
further comment on this. Any Director Deschler?
The only observation that I wanted to make is that I think what you were saying is appoint, was it Ella and Olivia on this? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and
Yes.
what the only comment I wanted to make regarding that is that those two are also the point of contacts on Ivy Safe. And they may be involved in other matters from that perspective on Deltopia planning or Deltopia safety aspects. So I just don't want to spread them too thin, but if they're game for it, I just thought that might be a lot for them.
I think me and you are the only ones going to the planning meeting tomorrow, but that's for the wider logistics of Deltopia. So
Okay,
yeah, we'll
okay.
keep it in mind. Yeah.
So them being on Ivy Safe won't be too much.
Yeah, I think Ivy Safe will be the next one, will be after we've concluded this ad hoc work.
Oh, cool, cool. Okay. I withdraw my comments.
Okay, Director Freeman.
And just to verify, because it's an ad hoc, it doesn't matter that a majority of them will also be at that other meeting.
Yeah, well, we're not making a decision in this ad hoc committee. We're just reviewing the staff proposal before it comes to
Even
the
if it
board.
were, I mean, yeah, we're not making,
Yes.
yeah, like fundamentally, but like,
We're
for my edification, ad hocs in general, it doesn't matter if majority of the ad hoc does something like great.
Yeah, and Ivy Safe isn't engaging with the content of our festival, just the wider logistics of Deltopia.
Cool.
And I think there's actually a big advantage if they have the capacity to being able to serve on both, just because you get to see how our effort at the festival fits into the broader Deltopia planning.
Yeah.
And so if they're willing to continue, I would super support it, because I think we had our most successful year last year with this. And
Yeah, they did a good job.
I'm really excited to hear that sounds like we're starting almost earlier than ever on all the planning, with
We're way ahead
Maya
of
taking
schedule.
on more of a role in this. And so I'm looking forward to the report.
But Jonathan, you said the Ivy Safe, this would be concluded by the next Ivy Safe, but that's January 10th, right? So I don't
We
know.
just learned today that we're gonna need to move it because another county meeting is happening
Oh.
that day. I
Okay,
just learned
all
today.
right.
So I'll,
Gotcha.
it'll be February 1st, the next one. You heard it here first. I just haven't announced it yet to the group, but yeah.
Very exciting.
All right, well, hearing all that discussion, I will appoint Director Topliff, Director Schultz, and Director Craig to the ad hoc committee for Deltopia Community Festival Planning.
We just need a motion to form the committee though.
Okay, before this action then, is there a motion on the floor? Director Topliff.
I move to establish an ad hoc committee for Spring Festival planning.
All right, is there a second on this motion?
I'll second.
All right, the second from Director Brandt. Is there any public comment on this motion? See none, so I'll return for a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Topliff,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Deschler,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That motion passes 5-0-0-2. And with that motion, I will repeat, I will appoint Director Topliff, Director Schultz, and Director Craig to the ad hoc committee for Spring Festival Planning. Now I'll move on to item 4.3, Dixon Resources Unlimited Proposal for Mobility Plan Completion Services.
Right, so I updated the board over email that we finalized termination of the contract with KTUA for the mobility plan. And so we didn't do that in a vacuum. We knew that we could get another vendor to get it done without leaving us hanging. So we worked out with Dixon a proposal where they'd be able to finish the project under the timeline that we've been given for by CARB, the California Air Resources Board. The proposal's for 47,985, and we have about 39,000 left in our grant. So direct cost of the district would be $9,000, and we can cover the rest with the grant money that we already have. I've discussed it with CARB already. We're working on doing the amendment to the grant agreement to give us the extension, and also the amendment to the budget to reallocate some things to allow for the money to be spent in a different, a slightly different way. We have to just reallocate some money within the grant that we have to do an amendment for, but all that sounded good to them. We're actually moving around the maximum amount allowed without triggering another level of amendment. So 10% of the grant we can reallocate without more complications. So it actually all worked out perfectly. So the district will have to chip in $9,000 beyond the grant, but the grant was for 182,000, and we have had everything else covered 100% by the grant, besides a couple things like the food at the town halls, which is just not allowed by state law to be paid for. So this is just to make sure we get to the finish line. And the way I see it is we're putting in $9,000 to be eligible for hundreds of thousands of dollars of implementation funds, because by doing this is a planning grant under CARB, the STEP program, but STEP also has construction and implementation grants. So we were on a, part one of several parts of grant opportunities. So it's money well invested, in my opinion. So recommending approval. And this would be done, sorry, one last detail is it's not a new contract with Dixon. It would just be an amendment to the existing contract we have with them, adding this as a separate scope of work that they'll complete in this budget.
All right, thank you for that update. Are there any board questions at this time? All right, I see no board questions. Is there any public comment on this item? See no public comments, I'll come back to the board. Is there any board comment on this item? Director Brand.
Just big thanks to Dixon. I know they're not here, but I know you'll pass it along for stepping up to this. I've already been really impressed with their work on parking, and we got to get this plan done. I believe that even though we are having this change, the plan's still going to be something that is of really high quality, mainly because of all the outreach that's gone into it, which is something that is more in our internal wheelhouse than with the technical work, but it will be, especially important given what it looks like the situation is going to continue to be for the foreseeable future when it comes to funding for these projects. We need to have like the best, most quality plan with documented all the outreach that we've done as possible to be able to have a shot at making any of these projects happen. So let's get it done.
All right, thank you for those comments. Yeah, I completely echo what Director Brandt said. I'm really pleased with the work we've seen with Dixon as a consultant. They're clearly very knowledgeable and they understand Isla Vista's unique points. So I'm very proud of this step up from them. Is there a motion on this item?
I'll move approval of the recommendation.
Right, the motion by Brandt and the second by Topliff. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comment, so I'll go to a vote. May I have a roll call vote?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Teschler,
Yes.
Topliff,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Freeman.
Yeah. All right, this motion passes 5-0-0-2. We will now move to item 4.4, our parking study change order.
Well, I'm asking you all to spend additional money on our mobility efforts today, but I'm not doing it lightly, and it is for a good cause. So for the parking study, I'm sure some of you have been a part of the focus group sessions with Dixon Resources Unlimited. We did so many already for the 2 visits that they've had, and there were some that we weren't able to schedule because of the availability of the stakeholder groups. So we ended up doubling up with the ones who were available. For example, we couldn't get the families focus group done in the November session. It was Dia de los Muertos, and it was just not a good time. But we were able to double up and have multiple student group focus groups. So we didn't waste the money we already had allocated. We got to have just more fruitful conversations. But these are 8 critical groups that we do need to have focus groups with. And so this is pre-recommendations. They have funding still in the studies budget to have additional meetings with people, but that's once the recommendations are out, and we're workshopping the different options with them and seeing how they feel about them. But we want to make sure that these groups are taken into account before recommendations are developed, out of respect for them and to make the end product better. The ones are county long range planning staff who are on our steering committee, but we do need to have a more deep dive conversation with the planning department on what they're looking at. The Surfrider Foundation, we've had some trouble getting in touch with, but we finally do have a good contact with. Isla Vista Families, that's now, we have those scheduled, pending this approval for early January, and we've been, we have a good setup for those. UCSB staff and employees, faculty and staff, we want to make sure that they're a major user of the roadways coming in here, and want to capture them. UCSB police, we've had several conversations with the sheriff department, but we haven't been able to get the UCPD in yet, so it's important to get them as they're one of the law enforcement agencies overseeing Isla Vista. And we'll try to get CHP in the same meeting. Santa Barbara City College is another one that is a catch-all group for all their stakeholders. Property management companies, again, one of the main drivers of the solution because they control a lot of the parking that already exists in IV. And then finally, one that's been newer that's rose to our attention is county staff that work on encampments, especially people living in their vehicles, and especially making sure we can have a strong connection to those services as we develop an enforcement program. So so that one's new. We didn't originally identify that one, but we added it in as something that's pretty critical. We don't want to create a program that misses the current services that exist and current workflows that exist with people living in their cars and all this stuff. So $6,000 for 8 additional focus groups.
All right, thank you for that breakdown. Is there any board questions at this time? Director Brandt.
Can you go over the focus groups again that have already taken place?
Yeah, we had multiple focus groups with long-term residents. We had a focus group with County Public Works. We had multiple focus groups with UCSB students. We had a couple focus groups with board members. We had 2 focus groups with business owners. That's another one we doubled up on. And it was great. Got good participation from the business community. I can pull up the list. Those are the ones coming from the top of my head, but yeah.
Cool. Okay, that's good to know. And is there a recommendation from Dixon regarding Coastal Commission?
We met with them already, but we are going to meet with our local coastal commissioner, but that's not needing to be in this change order. That's already accounted for.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good to know.
but she's on our list to meet with pretty soon.
And the people that you met with already were coastal staff.
The staff, the
Okay.
district director and the staff. Yeah, thanks.
All right, I see no further board questions, so I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on yours? Director Dash.
Yeah, a couple things. I heard Jonathan say this, but I just want to make sure that it's for the record. I definitely think it should be UCSB staff and faculty. And then UCPD, that's good. I definitely think CHP, you mentioned that's really important since they have jurisdiction over roads, right? So I just wanted to make sure about that. And then as you're talking to county staff about things having to do with people who live in their vehicles, I think that conversation would benefit from having some of our staff who are from our basic needs program on campus, because they also liaison with students who may have living challenges, home challenges. So those are my comments on that.
Thank you. And I will mention too, with the county staff and the vehicle habitation, is part of that will go into a grant opportunity from the state to help problem solve in Isla Vista. So it'll be coming with resources, not just enforcement.
Gotcha. All right, well, I see no further board questions at this time. I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this item? All right, I see no public comments. I'll come back to the board. If there's any further board comment or question. Director Brandt.
Was just gonna agree with Director Daschler's suggestion. I think that number 8, the focus group, about encampment resolution funding, and just everything related to all of the different homeless services staff should be as broad as can be, because it'll be a really important component. And we know that New Beginnings is also a component of that through their safe parking program. And so I would just encourage that participation to be broad with the different service providers.
Yeah.
I'll move approval of the parking study change order.
All right, we have a motion from Director Topliff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Director Freeman. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see no public comment. I'll go back to the board for a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Brandt,
Yes.
Director Deschler,
Yes.
Director Freeman,
Yes.
Director Topliff.
Yes.
All right, this motion passes 5-0-0-2. We will now move on to item 4.5, resolution 23-13, healing justice sponsorship.
Okay, so let me share screen up. So Healing Justice is a local nonprofit that's done a lot of work with us with events at the IV Community Center, and they approached us to ask for a sponsorship for their upcoming event in February. And I discussed it with President Aguilar and Maya about whether we should, where they fit into our mission and to our goals. And we determined that it would be a public benefit to Isla Vista to ensure that Isla Vista residents can attend the event, and that they do work, that nonprofit does focus on doing work to benefit Isla Vista residents through advocacy for Board Goal 3, which is reimagine public safety and expand justice in Isla Vista. And it is a modest amount of $1,000 for their bronze level sponsorship. So we're recommending making the sponsorship.
Is there any board question on this resolution? All right, I see no board questions. I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this resolution? I see no public comments. I'll come back to the board for board comment. I just want to share that I think it's really good that we support this resolution to share some funds with our neighbors, even with an event that is not necessarily happening in Isla Vista, but as a community that has an incredibly full community center, we host events that support advocacy just like this all the time. And $1,000 is surely a tiny amount in the money that we decide, especially considering the items we just approved moments ago. So I'm really proud that we can support a group like this in Santa Barbara. I'm also really proud that a group like this in Santa Barbara comes to ask our district for funding. That says a lot about us as an organization, that we are a friendly organization. So I'm really happy about this, and I'm in support of it. Is there any other board comment? Is there any board motion on this resolution?
Move to approve resolution. I don't have it on, so
I don't know the number either.
2313.
23.
I will second.
All right, the motion to approve by Director Brandt and the second by Director Freeman. Is there any public comment on this motion? See no public comment on this motion, so I'll return to a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Director Brandt,
Yes.
Director Topliff,
Yes.
Director Freeman,
Yes.
Director Deschler.
Yes,
And this motion passes 5-0-0-2. We'll now move on to item 4.6, health and safety vending machine contract.
Well, I was saying this is the one that I'm most excited about on today's agenda. It's a good one. So we've been talking at the board about what we can do to alleviate the fentanyl issue in Isla Vista and other public safety and health issues. At the last Ivy Safe meeting, Melissa Watkins from the County Behavioral Wellness Commission approached me about putting a vending machine on our community center patio that will disperse things like fentanyl test strips, naloxone, and then other materials too, like condoms, HIV tests, and that are going to be brought in by Pacific Coast Foundation. So for $600 a year, for giving up a little bit of space, we'd be able to provide these items for free to the community. They will handle restocking of all of these, and we can add in additional items in the future as we choose. But we only have to pay $600 a year for the software maintenance, just to pay the subscription for the software. And so it's a big win for us, in my opinion, and it meets our goals of helping alleviate these issues in a way that, is easy for the public to access. We don't have to hold specific events. People can come anytime, 24/7 to get these items from us. So, and then we can decide at a future date at our, in our budget process upcoming about other supplies that we want to make budget for to have at this vending machine. It'll be temperature controlled, so most things can be held within it and used. Nothing, we don't have to worry about them going bad. So yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Director Freeman.
Near the end of that paragraph, you said something about in the future we'll have opportunity to suggest things to put in the vending machine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We just didn't, it would have been a lot to figure out before the meeting today, but it's not as simple. You have to pick the products, make sure they fit in the coils, adjust. So we'll be able to make those adjustments in the future. So
Maybe I should.
yeah.
Generally speaking, choosing specific products and making sure they fit in the coils doesn't sound like a decision that I would be involved in.
No, I would do that. Yeah,
Okay.
but we would
Will it
compete
be-
for budget.
I wasn't certain if
For
you meant
budget,
if there's a suggestion for something that should go in the vending machine that I have, should I say it now? Should I use it? Is there a future meeting?
Let me know
Supposed to happen
We're
now?
dying
Or should I
to hear
email
it,
it?
Jay. Come on.
Any email or say it now. I'll take
Okay,
it.
one thing some places have is emergency contraception. That's something that wasn't, I think, on your list exactly, but something that seemed fit the general pattern of the
Yeah.
business. So,
I'll check. I think Pacific Pride Foundation might be providing those, but if not, that's something we can do.
So have those inside UCSB library directly across from my office. Tons of other resources just like this one. I was going to ask when we expect this vending machine to be present.
I think relatively soon. It's just at this point a matter of ordering it and waiting for the supplier to deliver it. So,
Gotcha.
but otherwise, everything is sorted out on the back end.
All right. Is there any other board question? Oh, Director Deschler.
yeah, I just wanted to ask, so I wanted to ask where this is gonna be. And because you said there'll be 24-hour access, and then I also am just interested if you know, like, what is the process? Does somebody, probably, does it cost money? Somebody just basically goes, pushes a button, what they want, it releases? I'm just kind of curious as to the mechanics of that.
Yeah, it is free. So no one has to pay to use any of the products or to get any of them. And it'll be tucked away on the patio of the community center. So it won't be prominent on the street side. So you need to know it's there. But we will, spread the word about it on our website.
Awesome, thank you.
Is that, all right, Director Freeman.
I guess I do now have a practical logistics question. I mean, we've had people in this area go around just like dismantle and steal electronics, and things. And so having the vending machine right here and having it be free, is there any thoughts about how the security of it, or whether we're just gonna, I mean, our porta potties were just, knocked over.
Yeah.
And so now I'm suddenly having this realization that I'm gonna go to the vending machine the second day and there's nothing in it. So I'm
Yeah,
just-
it's always a possibility. I will say that right now Maya has done like in this bathroom and in the community center bathroom, she's had some products like that. Like there's condoms and tampons and other things that people can take for free. And people have been pretty respectful. Like no one has come and taken all of them at once when they actually could have. So, and being on the patio and on the street side is removed from like, the bathrooms are on DP where there's way bigger crowds and lots more traffic. So it's always a risk, but, and people have been pretty respectful of the community garden right there too. So I think we'll see what happens.
See what happens.
but, we're not paying.
We saw
for
what
the
happened
vending
with the
machine or
porta potties and we
supplies.
improved it. So
Yeah.
that's, we do things better.
That's true. And we're only paying for the software $600 a year. So, the cost is not to us. So that the county, Be Well Commission thought that it was important they get one for the county, I think, to start, and they wanted to place it here.
Great.
Director Brand.
Well, I see what you're saying in terms of we want these products to be out there, but we don't want them to be all out. Because if people are coming to depend on this or could depend on it for potentially a life-saving treatment, you want it to be stocked. So I think just the monitoring will be really important to make it successful. But I'm really excited about this. We know that fentanyl has been a scourge on the community, and that a lot of times from the data, from what we've seen, there's really two groups. There's young people that may be taking a drug recreationally that they don't know is laced with fentanyl. Now they will be able to test it easily. They'll be able to obtain the naloxone, and I think we should try to do what we can to do like a ribbon cutting for it or something. Just do everything we can to publicize that it's there. But we also know that particularly, especially in this area, we have people that are living outside, and the data shows that they are much more likely to be victims of a fentanyl overdose. And so I think it's a good location to be of some use for that population as well. And just really glad that we're able to help be a part of this solution to try to, get more of this life-saving medication out there. If we were to walk by the vending machine and it was all out except for one or two, I would view that as a huge success. Because it means that more of that product is getting out into people's hands, and it's going to be more useful there than in the machine.
And we have had people overdose right in front of the community center multiple times.
All right, thank you, board members, for those questions and comments. I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this item? See no public comments, so I'll come back to the board. Is there any further board comment or question on this item? Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make that motion.
All right, the motion to approve from Director Topliff. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by Director Freeman. Is there any public comment on this motion? See no public comment on this motion, so I'll come back to the board for a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Eichelmiller,
Yes.
Director Topliff,
Yes.
Director Freeman,
Yes.
Director Brandt,
Yes.
Director Deschler.
Yes.
All right, this motion passes 5-0-0-2. We'll now move on to item 4.7, downtown Isla Vista power washing proposal.
Okay. And Jenna is on to answer questions as you have them, but one thing the board allocated funding for in the last budget cycle was to do monthly power washing as needed for graffiti and other major dumpings that happen from time to time in IV. But we were talking with our vendor about what it would take to do a cleaning of the entire loop, Pardal, Embarcadero del Mar, and Del Norte. And so we wanted to bring it to the board as an option for you all. It would be a proof of concept essentially, where we would do this once to clean the entire loop. We're not sure when the last time it happened was, but I think it was when the RDA was still in effect. That's what Bob Geis at least used to say. So it would be $11,000 to do the whole loop. We would do it once, and then we'll use the pictures of how nice it looks after it's been power washed to work with the businesses, so that we can work out a cost sharing mechanism for them to, fund some of the costs of power washing in front of their business. And, we would maybe take on a portion of it and organize the whole thing moving forward. So it would more to be showing people how nice it could look if there was regular maintenance, maybe once a year or every 6 months. I can show you, let me share my screen on the where it's going to be. I'm already showing my screen. It would be this area plus Pardal. So this is the loop plus Pardal. And here's a example of the difference in the sidewalk, where it's power washed on the right regularly by Freebirds. They do their own power washing all the time, versus on the left where it's not currently power washed. So that's the idea, but it's not something we budgeted for. So that's why we're bringing it to you all if you want to try this out as a pilot program this year.
All right, thank you for that update. Is there any board questions on this item?
So where would the funding come from for
We
this
would-
first one?
We would have to just draw from our reserves or from our surplus. Our utility tax grows every year beyond what we've budgeted usually. So we would appropriate those funds, and then from there, we've already put in the budget for Ivy Beautiful a projection to have some revenue come in from private businesses giving us funds to do work in front of their property. So this would just jumpstart that ability to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it would be new funding. We have to.
Is there any other board questions at this time? See none, so I'll go to the public. Is there any public comment on this item? No public comment. So is there any board comment on this item? Director Freeman.
So for what it's worth, I looked into this specific company, and because I was curious, in the past, when power washing has come up, I've been kind of picky about it, and been like, I look at this specific company, read the news of the company, read the website of the company, look at the equipment the company uses, process the company uses, descriptions of the process that other people said that they used, as opposed to really looking what the company did, and they seem fine. So, yeah. But it also, it's, to me, feels like such a bonus thing that I'm not sitting here being like, yeah, we definitely should do this. And it makes the sidewalk slightly shinier for a small period of time. So. I'd rather if we could figure out a way to make the sidewalk flatter as opposed to making it shinier.
We're working on that too.
Is there any other board comment on this?
Well, maybe just another question for Jenna, I guess. Can you describe what the interest has been in the preliminary conversations with the business owners?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I've just heard a few different business owners ask me about power washing. And mostly the reason I thought it would be a good idea is because I know it's something that's done in a lot of central business locations, and seeing how beautiful Freebirds looks compared to a lot of the rest of the sidewalks, and then hearing business owners ask me about power washing just made me think that I should just get a quote and see what happens.
Gotcha. Thanks for that. So yeah, I guess my comments on this would be, I'm really excited about this. We've talked about having this done for like ever, right? Forever. It was actually one of the original things that we put in the Ivy Beautiful program because we knew that the need was great. And I think that I'm prepared to move forward with it with the understanding that this is a one-time expenditure, and I would be, I think it'll just be important to set the expectation for business owners that we're, like you said, Jonathan, we're doing this to show a proof of concept. And in order for it to happen in the future, that some contribution on their behalf will be important. I know that in other communities where there is power washing that's done, it's usually the business association that pays for it. At least that's how a lot of services in the downtown are provided in downtown Santa Barbara. So I just think that buy-in will be good. And I think that I like the strategy of showing a proof of concept. And I have noticed the difference between the Freebird side of that corner and the rest of the corner. And the crosswalk in particular, the rainbow crosswalk, looks so much better on their side. So I'm really looking forward to how things are going to look once we do pass on the rest of it.
Yeah, and we will be able to, in the future, we don't have to do it all at once. In the future, if only 10 businesses want it, we can work. That's what our chip in will be, is the coordination, finding we already found the vendor, making sure it happens. And then people can see, oh, X business has really clean sidewalks, the other one has really dirty. So it'll be a choice for them to make. But no one's done this in IV for at least a decade, as far as our records can show.
Yeah, looking at the cost per area for these different sections, like Rosarito, Deja Vu, and Nonstop, that's a pretty low cost for that amount of sidewalk. And then considering these businesses, what they bring in on a monthly basis and how long this could theoretically last, if this could be an easy choice for them once they see the benefit. But I also am supporting this with the idea that it's a one-time event that our district is footing the entire bill, and that we have a partnership with the businesses for the future washes that will occur. Is there any other board comment? Is
This
there
is
any-
Kirsten. I just have a comment.
Yes.
Or a question, actually. When we engage with various companies to get a quote on their services, do we ask a certain number of companies to provide bids? Or I'm just curious about that, because I have no idea what a normal cost would be for this, and I just wonder, were there other people that you asked for bids for, Jenna, and this was the best one? Or do you have personal experience with this company? Just curious.
Yeah, really quick, Jennifer.
Yeah,
before you go.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just quick, there are bid requirements that we have to follow, but this cost is below the bid requirements, but I'll let Jenna fill in on her experience with this company.
Yeah, so I've worked with this company for a long time. The owner grew up in Santa Barbara, and I know him from my last job, and I wanted to use him for this job. And without even realizing it, I found out that he also does all of the power washing for the Parks District as well. And he power washes all of the houses on Del Playa in the summer. Or not all of them, but a lot of them. And I've been using him for the past year and a half whenever we do have a power washing need. So I work with him a lot and I trust him, but the answer is no, I haven't gotten other quotes.
That's
Usually-
sufficient. I was just mainly curious as to how you found this person, but you answered my question. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion on this proposal?
I'll move approval, the recommendation.
All right, the motion by Brand, is there a second?
I'll second.
And the second by Director Topliff. Is there any public comment on this motion? See no public comments, so I'll return for a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Topliff,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yes.
Deschler.
Yes.
And this motion passes 5-0-0-2. We'll now move on to our fifth area of our agenda, our organizational session. We have item 5.1, board president and vice president election. Director Freeman.
The thing that I always do today, I can't do, which is I really want to like turn to some of our newer members like Olivia and Ella and ask them if they would like to maybe even become president, and they're not here, so I can't ask that question to give an answer. Past that, I've been very happy with Marcos as president, and barring giving opportunities to newer people in order to have variety in that landscape, I am supportive of Marcos continuing president if he's willing to do it.
I am willing to do it. I appreciate your compliment there. Yeah, I had the same thought as well, Director Freeman, about other members who might be curious about that experience or might be wanting to take on a new role, but they are not here currently, so I can't get their feedback. But yeah, I've enjoyed being president so far. It's had some challenges, but I am willing to continue. Director Brand.
Well, I, for one, think that you and Carrie are doing an excellent job in the role. You represent us very well. I think that perhaps this year, even more than any other that we've had in the past, there's been so much like external representation and that has been needed. And you've really done that in a really good way. And you do a great job keeping us all on focus, keeping us moving together in the same direction, very collaborative style that really just is in the keeping with what the district is all about. So I would also be supportive of both of you continuing in your roles.
Thank you, Director Brandt. That means a lot. I've definitely learned a lot from you in your tenure as president. My entire time before on the board, you were president, and I've seen even things from previous. So thank you. That means a lot.
Unless you want to be president, Kirsten.
She'll get a special chair.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, Ben, no, good Lord, no. I'm super
I'm
happy.
just trying to keep you awake.
I'm awake. No, I'm very, very supportive of the current leadership structure.
All right, I don't remember exactly how this process goes. I know with committees I'm appointing folks, but I don't think that I'm appointing myself, Director Brand.
I would move to elect Marcos Aguilar as president and Carrie Toplip as vice president.
I would ask a question on and we're allowed to do that as a single combined motion. I'm always the person who forgets, and I'm always the person who asks, and I believe everyone always says, yes, Jay, we've gone over this 50 times.
I think we did that last time. I can check for you.
I was wondering if we're gonna run into some kind of problem with like, because people, if it's indirectly a question, people are allowed to vote for themselves.
Oh, yes.
Okay, second that motion. Because with 5 people, if people can't vote for themselves.
Yeah, then it gets.
Yeah, let me pull up the minutes from last time.
We don't want you to voting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Again, I'm always the person who asks this question. It's always the same answer. So it's just.
You did it as one last time. It was one motion last time. So.
I second.
Okay, we have the motion from Brandt and the second from Freeman. Is there any public comment on this motion? All right, I see no public comment on this motion, so I'll return for a vote. May I have a roll call vote?
Director Aguilar?
Yes.
Topliff?
Yes.
Freeman?
Yes.
Brandt?
Yes.
Deschler?
Yes.
All right, this motion passes 5-0-0-2. Thank you all. Thank you, Director Topliff, for being
I look
Vice
forward to
President.
another good year together.
We'll now move on to item 5.2, our board committees selection.
All right, so I attached on the agenda the current membership of the standing committees and the ad hoc committees for your reference. And it's up to you all to shuffle it all around or keep it the same.
Do we have to do this tonight? And the reason I mention is because we do have 2 members absent. Is it possible we can move, or do you know what Ella and Olivia are interested in doing?
You could definitely continue this to January.
I mean, I think it would be nice for them to have input.
Yeah.
Yeah, to definitely, to the point that you were making, Jay, about helping develop board leadership, yeah, it's kind of hard to like make decisions when we have two people that aren't able to participate in the decision. And I know that particularly for Ella, because she was appointed to the board after we had this organizational session last year, she hasn't had a chance to weigh in on this. So
I think we even promised her that the next time we did this, we would talk about it.
I think we did. I think we did. So I
She's in the
support
finals.
continuing it.
All right, well, I see consensus from the board to continue this conversation at our next meeting. So we will do that. We will move on to item 5.3, resolution 2314, board meeting calendar for 2024.
Okay, so this is the same resolution as last year, second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. One meeting in December, though I'm thinking we might want to not do the second Tuesday in November next year and move that up to December 3rd instead of 10th, because it won't be during finals week. So we can have it just a little earlier and then not have the 26th meeting in November. And so I thought of that after the agenda got published. So that might be my only recommendation, is that we just not do the November 26th meeting and then do the December meeting earlier, so that we can have more participation from the board members.
And so, yeah, that would be only one December meeting.
It would be only one, though. Actually, I will take my word back. There might be an issue with the swearing in and the date the election is
timing.
certified.
Yes.
So, but we might want to just do two December meetings regardless.
Okay.
Just so that we could not do a meeting Thanksgiving week, which I'm sure doesn't work for board members and constituents. But that could be an option we can do. So I can also bring this back updated at January 9th as well, if you all have any other ideas on reconfiguring this.
It seems like we would want, at this point, the best we could do would be to like have a flexible statement for that November 26th / December singular meeting. But I don't think that that's what we don't want it to be like a meeting may change in this record, correct?
Yeah, the tough thing with the December meeting with our second and fourth Tuesdays is the fourth Tuesday in December is Christmas. So we're not, it's a federal holiday.
Yes.
So you could, and the 17th is during the break when, we have had student board members and they might not be able to participate. And the community is largely not here either. So you could do the two meetings in December, 3rd and 10th. Because I think we do need to wait until the 6th of December for the election to be certified. And that's when
Gotcha.
people officially take office, is the first Friday at noon. So anyways, I'm sorry, I thought of this too last minute. It was just earlier today when I was speaking to our board members who were not going to be able to make it, that I thought that maybe we should just change the whole December timeline to not have this issue again. But I think we might need to have the 10th, but we can add the 3rd instead of the 26th of November.
Wait, why do we need to have the 10th?
It has to be after the swearing, after people take office, which will happen on December 6th.
But that can't wait till the next January.
You could have the organizational meeting in January for sure.
Because then you'd be having it in January.
No, you could. It's actually totally, you can have your organizational meeting whenever you want it to be.
Is there an advantage to having the organizational meeting in December, or is it's just been our custom?
It's just been our custom. That's, a lot of councils and
We'll
do that.
Well, I would like to avoid us having a meeting if it's only for the organizational session, because that doesn't seem like a good use of anyone's, all of your time.
Dr. Freeman.
It's worth, what we were about to say was common. It's common to have it in, isn't it also common to have it in January? I think LAF was in January. Isn't the board of supervisors in January?
Yeah.
So I think it seems reasonable to do in January.
So we can, I can make that change, and we can have it's just when you have the new board members get elected, or not, whoever gets elected in November, they might not get to participate in the meeting if we don't have one on the 10th, but that could be okay. I mean, they could just have their first meeting in January.
That seems okay to me.
So you could have the 3rd of December as like the last meeting of the year. And like what this one is. And
if there are board members that are stepping off, then that's the meeting that they get honored at, because we'd at least know the election results by then, even if it wasn't certified.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I apologize for the last minute change, but it just all came to me today.
So November then would just be the 12th. And
Yeah.
then the next meeting after that would be December 3rd.
Yeah, so there wouldn't be
Both
as big of a
November and
gap.
December would only have one meeting.
Yeah.
Seems fine.
Possibly July, which we have always had as a, or that's been our standard.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with that change to having both of those months have one meeting. And we continue the organizational for the year 25 in the year 25.
Yeah, I guess in the December 3rd meeting next year, you could set the calendar for the year after, and they could just say, that's our next, I think, yeah, you can easily do it like that, so.
I'm comfortable with that. Are there any other board questions or comments? See none. Is there any public comment on this approval resolution? See no public comment. Is there a motion for this resolution?
I'll move to adopt this resolution with the change to the attachment that we described, i.e. a meeting in November on the second Tuesday and a meeting in December on the first Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.
I'll second.
All right, the motion by Topliff and the second by Brandt. Is there any public comment on this motion? I see none, so I'll come back to the board for a vote. May I have a roll call?
Director Aguilar,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Deschler,
Yes,
Topliff,
Yes.
Brent.
Yes.
All right, this motion passes and we have our calendar for the following year. Now move on to item 6, reports. Reports from members of the board. Are there any board members who wish to share a report at this time? Dr. Brandt.
I don't have a report, but since we moved on from public comment before Eleanor arrived, I wanted to offer you the chance to introduce yourself, say hi to everyone.
Thank you, Spencer. Hi, everyone. I'm Eleanor Gartner. If you don't know me, I am the newest staff member for Supervisor Katz's office in the District 2 office at the county. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you, continuing the good work that's already been laid down between the district office and here at the Community Services District. Prior to this role, I was doing public and government affairs at Cox Communications, so very much appreciate all the work you do surrounding community development, and onward together. Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you so much for being here.
if I knew Eleanor was gonna be there, I would have braved it. I would have come in for that.
I appreciate that.
Director Freeman.
So this Thursday is a LAFCO meeting where the MSR that includes a bunch of stuff related to El Vista is coming up. And I remember if in the past, there was an implicit indication that I would be there, but I, for what it's worth, thought that meeting was last week, and I will not be there. I also don't think that there will actually be any discussion about this, really. I think it's just going to effectively be like our previous meetings where he goes through all the explanation, and then everyone's just like, okay, that sounds great, and then they approve everything, but I don't know if
It's
there's
being continued to
Oh, it's being
January
continued, okay then.
because of the noticing requirements. and
Great,
everything.
not even a big
Yeah,
deal.
I know, it was gonna be a crazy day, but January 11th now.
Okay.
I just have a question for staff on that. So the changes that are related to us include what?
Sphere of influence amendments to include the UCSD gardens that we work with on the compost collective.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
There's some other comments in there too, but we can put that as a more full item. at the
Yeah,
board meeting
that
to
this
go
sphere is
over.
what's important.
But that's
Okay.
the main thing.
Any other board members?
Sorry. Leah, no.
It's
Hang
okay.
on, I'll get.
Any other board members with reports they'd like to share at this time? All right, I'll move on to item 6.2. Are there any reports from standing and ad hoc committees? Nope, no reports. Is there a report from our district council?
Just briefly, since this is the last meeting of the year, I would just like to thank you all for being so welcoming to me. It's been a pleasure working with all of you, and I look forward to a great 2024.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, report from our general manager and staff.
Okay, so our staff aren't, I'm doing the report for some of their behalf today, but our community engagement team is doing the big last push for the parking study to get survey responses and focus group signups. But I can say we have over 1,200 people who've taken the parking study survey at this point, so it's been going well, and signups for the focus groups are also going good too. A new thing that we've been doing for community engagement are making reels on Instagram. And Fiona has, thanks to her for her expertise in making those. But they've been pretty successful. We've heard from some of our teachers that students are coming to the guitar classes or the dance classes having seen the reel, which have gone a little viral. Not too viral, but enough to get some people to come to the classes because of them. We had a great volunteer event for the Compost Collective last week, and we had the UCSB women's water polo team come out as a group to volunteer, and we made a sale at the volunteer event, so that was good. And it's gonna it just gave us the impetus to say we should work with the UCSB athletics department more to set up more formal volunteer opportunities, since there's so many people there that, and we have all volunteer work for them. But sales are going good with the Compost Collective. We've made our biggest sale recently for $100 for one larger order. And our marketing coordinator was just hired today too. And so their job will be to deliver products to shelves at stores and keeping us stocked. So we're also having a small sale for the holidays. Where we'll deliver some compost for free well, it's not free for the compost, but the delivery is free in Isla Vista. If you buy any from us. And we're also setting up an online store on our website. We had gotten the Allpay system to use to make sales for the yard sale back in September. And now we're gonna have like a store on our website, like you see at any other place, where you can like pick products and pay with credit card online. So that's great development there.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
So we've gone retail.
We've gone retail.
Whoa.
It's pretty fun. It's not something we would normally do in a government agency. It's create an online
No.
store.
We're
But,
pioneers.
Yeah, exactly. For Ivy Beautiful, Jenna has been working on the lighting plan. So that was the contract we weren't able to get finalized for today's meeting, but we've been working with the lighting design engineer. Her and I went on a 3-hour walk with him right before Thanksgiving at night, just to see all the dark spots and get his expertise advice on what would work and what wouldn't, and measuring things like foot candles. That's like how much light is on the floor. So we're learning a lot of new terms and getting a lot of new tools in our toolbox. And so we'll bring that at the January meeting. He would be working with us to help design our proposal to the county to spend the $250,000 that they allocated last year. Jenna's also been working on the planter at the Pardell solar lot. We've been filling that up with soil and getting it going to be, beautiful community focus point of like plants and other things in there. We are also on Ivy Safe. I mentioned it that we're having to move the meeting to February, but that's okay because the Deltopia work group is going to be meeting tomorrow from Ivy Safe on working on planning for the different facets of Deltopia as early as possible. And so that's, it's great. Lieutenant Tesla ended up taking the lead on organizing that, and I'm thankful for him to do it. And we're going to look forward to participating in that. Maya is working with Covina, the interpersonal violence investigator, to develop a community engagement plan. I think I mentioned this already, but it's been developed more of having a community engagement plan for the interpersonal violence investigator, particularly to get the training out to the community. That's always been a component that we haven't been able to do as much since COVID, is doing community trainings on prevention of interpersonal violence. I got the sad news that our mediator, Sarah McNeil, is going to be retiring from his position in February. He's moving to Taiwan in retirement, and he's going to work with us to develop a transition plan to revamp the program, where we'd be able to offer advice and mediation separately with separate attorneys. He has different ideas of how we can do that and what we need to pay. You know, we've been paying $50 an hour for him, and that's because he's retired and he's doing it as, you know, out of the good of his heart. But we might have to increase our pay, but we've always been under budget in this program, and he has a lot of ideas that we're working with on him to transition the program to a new status quo. The community center and community room, they've been still very busy, high demand, lots of organizations doing their end of the year potluck at our spaces. And we've hosted, as well as other groups have hosted, lots of study jams in the last 2 weeks. So those have been really successful. On the facility front, I have good news, which is that we're getting good progress in reception from the county on the electric arm gate. It's actually now 2 electric arm gates, one for entrance, one for exit. But it's great. We had a site visit yesterday with county facility staff and one of our, I'm not sure what his title is, but you approved his contract today. He's our permit, you know, he does our design plans, and he'll apply for the permit to the building department for us. But that's moving along really well. It is going to be a more expensive project than we initially expected. So I'll bring an update to that to the board in January before we decide to actually move forward. But the expense is going to be from digging for electric capabilities from the electric box to where the gate entrance is. The acoustics project's also moving along. That one's still the same price. They're now just doing the hardest part, which is picking the colors for the panels. Pick wrong, it can ruin the whole space. But I had a meeting with the contractor on Monday as well. You heard already about the STEP grant. We're transitioning consultants. Parking study I already mentioned. They're finished with the existing conditions report and the needs assessment report. Well, that one will be finished once the survey's done, but we have good progress from them there. The community garden, I had our quarterly check-in with Katie last week and her team, and I sent you a video of how things are going at the Methodist garden. The Ivy Community Center garden, our perimeter garden around the building, is going really well. Some plants were dead, you might have noticed, but that's from the transition of fall, or from summer to fall, and now new plants are being planted. There's cauliflower that should be starting to sprout soon. But we've got a long way to go to get the big garden that we want at the site done. We've done our designs. We have a landscape designer who's done the work, but now we have to go through the same county process that takes sometimes a year to get through. But we're gonna keep working on it. Community festival, you already heard that Maya's been hard at work planning the outline of the festival. We have a budget already set. You know, it's an expansion of last year. We have extra $25,000 since we're not using a consultant to plan it. And so that opened up a lot of possibilities on more bathrooms and food that we can give to the community. We're gonna have the library item again in January, or not again, continue to January. But Galita promised to, they've been doing some more data collection on the usage of the book van. So we'll at least have that now in addition. In terms of bluff safety, I have a great update for you all. I met with the pharmacy, the dispensary here in Isla Vista, and they have some community benefit funds that was part of their contract in getting that location. And so they have about $10,000 to $15,000 that they can work with us to do bluff safety initiatives. And it's good because we can't necessarily always do the upgrades to private property, but it's something that we can do with that funding. And we've been talking about them helping with the lighting and signage on private property, like getting large artistic signs that help communicate the point, as well as lights to help keep the fences on the bluff edge illuminated. And then finally, we've had our staff-wide holiday party last week. I was serving up Lily's tacos to all our interns and regular staff, and then we just got back before this meeting from our upper management dinner at Kadaria that me and Jamie split the cost for. So thank you, Jamie. And we had a great time, like the 9 of us. Last year was only 4 of us. Now it's 9. So it was great time. So that's my report.
All right, thank you for that report. I'm especially happy to hear about those holiday festivities with the total district team and the upper management of our district. That's something that we all spent some time thinking about at our annual retreat this past year. So I'm really happy to hear that. Are there any questions? Dr. Brandt.
Well, it's certainly sad to hear about Sarah McNeil, but we wish him the best, and I hope we can do something to honor his service. He's been with us, I think, on and off for like almost the entire existence of the program. So I would also just want to let you know that I've had the offer to meet with the Santa Barbara rental housing mediation program to just give us ideas before, and now might seem like a good time for us to think about talking to them.
Perfect. That's good.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that report. We will now move on to item 7, our future meeting dates and future agenda items. We heard about the library agenda item being moved to January 9th. Are there any other future topics that directors would like to ping or put a pin in at this point?
This is
Director
Kirsten.
Duffy.
Oh, sorry. Can I talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was hoping that we could get an update from County Public Works on some of the projects happening around the community.
Yes, I can mention that. So County Public Works just opened the RFP process for so many acronyms, for the active transportation program that they got, I think, $9 million of funding for. And I asked them if they could come to us to do an update, and they will do that once they've selected a contractor to do the work. So it's on their radar, and they did agree to come to present to our board about it.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, the next regular meeting of the Board of Directors will take place on January 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. on Zoom.